Hello and welcome back to the Knitting Page channel. If you're new here, my name's Paige and I'm the face behind the Knitting Page. It has been a minute and then some since I've last recorded and posted, especially last recorded and posted a podcast. And so a lot has happened. I'll give you some life updates kind of interspersed throughout this podcast episode, but I am going to bring you a regular episode where I talk about my finished objects, my works in progress, and kind of some like plans for the future, although I do have a kind of planning video that I'm hoping to record in the near future and have up and ready for you guys to view. So I'm coming to you from Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is my new home. I moved here almost 5 months ago, which seems kind of crazy. It seems like I've lived here for forever, yet also not at all at the same time, which I mean, I haven't lived here for a long time, but I have a really wonderful community and I started a new job and there's just been so much new in my life. And that's partially why Luna is doing her thing over here. But that's partially why I haven't recorded in the past like 2 months. It's been over 2 months since I last put a video out. But yeah, I moved to Halifax. I'm here. I am adjusting to life. And anyways, I will get right into it. So in terms of finished objects, the maybe only finished object that you have seen as a whip at some point on this podcast are the Ultra Easy slippers by Easy as Knit. These slippers are so cozy. They are double knit, or like, they're not double knit, but they are double lined, I should say. And so how it works is it kind of looks like a hat. You have cast on a whole bunch of stitches, you knit around, and then you separate for each of the feet. You then knit each foot, you fold one inside the other, and you seam up the back. These are knit on 8mm needles, and to say that they fly off the needles would be an understatement. I knit one of these last year. I cast on the second slipper because I was like, I do not want to have second sock syndrome. And I cast it on, but I did not knit on it. And then I had a friend over. I've like, one of my colleagues, she's like getting back into knitting, and I've had a few like knit nights at my house or at her house, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna finish these slippers. And I finished a whole slipper in an evening of like a couple hours of knitting. And this slipper is a little big for my foot, and so I really want to experiment with felting, but I've been a little nervous. But hopefully next time I can give you a little felting update on these slippers, but I've still been wearing them. They're super cozy, they're super warm, and I've definitely been leaning into like the cozy vibes for this fall season. It has been a very gray November. Well, it's been a very gray past couple of weeks. And today the sun came out for the first time in like a week, and I just feel like it has energized me. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sit down and record, and perfection is the enemy of great, and right now we are all about habit and routine building, and so even if this video is not perfect, I wanted to sit down and record it and just get back into the practice of being the Knitting Page. Anyways, this slipper, these slippers, because I want to confirm that I do not have second slipper syndrome. I have finished the slippers. I may have started them a year ago and finished them a year later, but I do now have this super cute, cozy pair of slippers, which by the way, I think would make an excellent gift. And they're really great at working down your stash. And so I held 3 different yarns to get this nice, thick, cozy gauge. I held Drops Air, Drops, it's like a wool alpaca blend, but I'm forgetting the name of it right now. Anyways, another Drops yarn that's like a DK weight, and then I held a Briggs & Little yarn that was at an Aran weight for a really nice, thick, cozy fabric, and it knit up super quick, and they are the cutest little slippers, but I want to felt them because I have about this much extra room at the end of my foot, and I want them to be snug. I've also debated about getting like, I've seen them at Needles in the Hay, which was a yarn shop in Peterborough, Ontario. They had like little slipper stickers or little slipper glue that you can like put on the bottom of your socks or your slippers so they're not super slippery, because these guys are nice and slick right now. They're nice and thick and cozy. But this is a finished object that I'm really proud of. I would love to knit another pair. My mom is a really big slipper person, and so I feel like she would love a pair of these. But yeah, finished object, would highly recommend this pattern. They could definitely be knit in a weekend, and I think that for this upcoming gift season, I do plan to have like a little gift guide video out, like, you know, everyone and their brother has produced recently. But I think these would make a really excellent gift, and they're excellent for yourself, especially if you live in a cold climate, and or I live in this beautiful old apartment with can be drafty, and these have just been really nice for cozying up and drinking my coffee and having a candle and just like enjoying the cozy knitting vibes this fall. So the other thing that I actually have 3 finished objects. That was one. I have 2 other ones that you have never seen before because they were very spontaneous cast-ons, and I was trying to get back into the swing of knitting, into the routine of knitting, and I felt like I needed some wins. And so I did some larger gauge projects, hence this 8mm slipper. I also did an 8mm stocking, and so I am really leaning into the holiday vibes this season, this year, and I moved to an apartment and I don't have any Christmas decorations, Christmas stuff. And I was like, my one friend came over and she started a stocking, and I was like, that's so smart. It uses up some random stash yarn. I again knit these on 8mm needles. I knit this entire stocking in one night. I went to a little lovely local knit group at a cafe / gym close to my place, and I had like met the most wonderful people, had such a lovely time, and just knit away on this. But it is not perfect. And it's funny, as I was talking to the ladies, they knew me, and they were like, I love that you just roll with things, and you know, sometimes there can be a mistake, and if it's not too big, you just roll with it. And so that is what I did. So this is one side of the stocking, and this is the other side. As you can see, they're not symmetrical, and that is because I was doing decreases on the wrong sides of my stitch markers while shaping the heel. And anyways, I have not washed or blocked this, but I have just kind of tugged at it to really emphasize that nice traditional stocking line. But I hang it up here. I'll include a little photo here. I really want to knit another one for Luna. I'm thinking of knitting it in a red color. I know, Luna, I said your name. I want to knit it in a red color, and then I want to like embroider some like a P and an L so that we can have our little stockings. But I'm really trying to lean into the Christmas vibes, and this stocking was just like so satisfying to go and cast off the needles. So this is another finished object, and I just used some random thrifted yarn. I want to say, if I were to guess, it would be like worsted weight wool held with like a drops melody. It's not that, but like a really chunky mohair held with a wool to get this kind of cute little marling in a gray and a white color. But used up some of that. My friend that came over, she's also knitting a stocking in the same color, so we'll have like our little matching stockings. That will be really cute. Oh, I should also mention, I am wearing my April cardigan by Petite knit that I knit off gauge on size 6mm needles last year for the summer of POP, the pop of pink. And I'm recording today on a Wednesday. And on Wednesdays we wear pink. If you've watched Mean Girls, you get the reference. I wear pink every Wednesday. I've got a full pink skirt on. My students have picked up on it and they really like it. And they're kind of like, oh, like, you should wear this pink top or that pink top or that pink cardigan. Did you knit that cardigan? Oh my gosh. And they've been really loving the kind of pink and asking me about my knitting because they found out I knit and they found this channel. So the other thing that I knit is this really fun and funky scarf that I've been joking is a thneed. Because I wanted to knit, so I saw this picture on Pinterest and I was like, I love that scarf. I have so many random scrap yarns that I feel like I could make a really funky scarf based on this like Pinterest inspiration. And so every yarn in here has only been used once. I didn't double up on any of the yarns. Some of them I totally finished, like the pink from my April cardigan. Every last bit of it is used up, and it's finished up in the scarf. I have not washed or blocked the scarf, which I really do want to wash it to see how some of these like thicker sections wind up, I guess, easing up, maybe like relaxing, I guess would be the proper word for that, because I tried to make it somewhat symmetrical where I have like little sections, whoops, it's on this side, like sections of fuzzy, and then there's some more fuzzy here, some more fuzzy here, and then I kind of ran out of fuzzy yarns, and I am trying to not use my mohairs. I'm trying to save all of them to do like a full scrappy mohair project. And I was just kind of really loving the fun that knitting this scarf was, and I cast it on Saturday night and I cast it off yesterday night, Tuesday night. So it really didn't take that long. I knit a lot on it all day Sunday, and then I knit after work on Monday on this scarf, but it is just so fun. We have been experimenting with how you can wear it, but today I was rocking it like this, and then while in class, a student goes, "Oh my gosh, it's a tube." And I didn't explain to them that, I knit it as a tube. I cast on an unknown amount of stitches. And then I knit this in the round on 6mm needles and just changed colors whenever I felt like it. But they asked me since it's a tube, if I could put it on my head. And I've been in kind of like a really goofy, silly mood. And I was like, oh, I don't know, let's see. And so first I tried to put on this side, and this side, is very tight. I did a fairly tight bind off. I think I was trying to practice my German twisted cast on, because I needed to do it for a sweater that I'll show you in a minute. But I think I did my German twisted cast on, which is a fairly a fairly stretchy cast on. So this side is a lot stretchier. But if you wear it with this side, you get a nice little look. And then I was joking that, you could wear it as a scarf and a hat. And then one of my students goes, "You've made a thneed." And so anyways, there was like moments in class where they were like, "Can you like roll it up and wear it?" And I kind of like the rolled hat look. I think it's kind of cute. And then I was like, you can wrap it around. Then when you get cold, you can put your hands in this end of the tube and then be all cute and cozy. It's funny, one of my other colleagues wore another stripy scarf today. She's like, "Yours is so much cooler because you made it, and mine's just from the Gap." But I really love this concept of just kind of knitting a scrappy project and using up yarns. I think it's really fun and bright, which I really love for when it's really gray and gloomy outside. Just to like be a pop of color is really fun. But it's also fun to pair it up with like a full-on gray outfit or full-on black outfit and just have this like really color eccentric scarf. And so this is honestly one of my favorite knits I've like ever made, and I've been cycling to and from work, and I love the idea that I can wear it on my head with my helmet on top, and then also have warmth, neck warmth, as well as like ear warmth all in one piece. I do have a balaclava that I've started that I'll show you in my works and projects, because I got a bit of cast-on-itis and just cast on some of these projects that are more so for functionality. As I mentioned, I have been cycling to and from work, and so part of that process has been learning how to bundle up, and my ears are getting really cold, and so I have one scarf that I've been wearing as kind of like, the homemade balaclava, where you wrap the scarf on your head and it covers your ears, and then you tie the rest of it around your neck. Although I think if I were to do it with this scarf, I would have to more so, I don't know if I can get the full wraparound look. Sorry, I'm apparently experimenting with this for the first time, but a bit of a silly look like this or something on the lines of that. But anyways, I've been trying some of these projects. Like this project was a bit of a functional piece. I have a pair of mittens that I started, as well as a balaclava that again are functional pieces that are works in works in progress for making my cycling and commute to work a little more comfortable. And there's, I don't know, there's just a lot of pride and joy in like cozying up and putting something on that you have made and put a lot of time and effort into. But yeah, this like random funky scarf was just, I should say it was also, I knit it on 6mm needles, and I held like a DK double to get like this nice thick green section. There's some worsted weight held single, some other like fingering held single, DK had held single. And so the scarf is a little oblong in shape. Like I have this really thick, chunky Aran weight section from my Briggs & Little, followed right by like an alpaca silk section from Drops. And it was just very fun to make. And I definitely see myself wearing this a lot for this season, just because I find it so fun, as well as just functional in terms of keeping us cozy. And because it's so crazy, majority of my coats are neutral, and so I find that to be a fun piece to wear. But then I also like would wear it today during class when I taught, because every room seems to be a different temperature in the school, and the pink is pulled in because it's literally the same yarn. And then it also just added this fun kind of pops of color. So those are my 3 finished objects. I thought I would have a finished garment done in this video, but I have not. You'll see some of the status of my whips have made some progress, but they are not yet FO progress. And part of that has been that this the past couple of months, like starting a full-time teaching job for starting a full-time teaching job for the first time, there's like a lot of learning to do. And going from the transition of like being off in the summer to starting full-time work is definitely something that like I have to get used to. And so September kind of hit me in the face. Like October and November have been all about building routines and getting into like a momentum and a movement for what works for me and what my goals are. And I'm really grateful for today's sponsor of the video, which is Skillshare.
Skillshare is designed by creatives for creatives. Whether you're exploring crafts like knitting, sewing, and DIY projects, or working to maximize productivity and make the most out of your busy days, Skillshare has a class for you. Skillshare has been a game changer for staying grounded and productive during this busy time. One class I'm loving is Ali Abdal's Notion Masterclass.
And one of his like platforms that he uses is Notion. And so I've been using Notion to have a one-size-fits-all platform, and it's this ever-evolving project where I have my knitting, my running, my teaching, my like day-to-day productivity all in one place, so that I can content plan, I can lesson plan, I can keep track of my running goals, my knitting goals, my grocery list, my reading lists, all in one place, because sometimes I find you have these different lists that exist all over the place, and this video through Skillshare has really helped me kind of reorient my life so that I can incorporate all these different things, because one of my like kind of lines that I like to use is that I am a multifaceted person. I love to knit, I love to teach, I really get a lot of joy out of my job, but I also have a lot of goals when it comes to my athletics and running and having it all in one place and trying to systemize my life so that I can fit these things that are important to me into my life every day, every week, every month. Has been smooth sailing through Notion, and Skillshare has been a huge part of that.
And here's the best part. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today and discover how Skillshare can inspire your creative and productive journey.
I am so grateful to Skillshare, and I'm so grateful to my body, to my school, to everything. This past month, it's funny, I feel like I went from surviving to now I'm evolving into thriving, and I've had a good week. I had a great day today at work, and I'm just really grateful for all these opportunities that life has presented itself and where I'm at in life. I'm feeling very fulfilled, and it's a really lovely place to be, but it hasn't been necessarily the case throughout the entirety of this transition. There have been some growing pains, and I'm just excited to be on the other side of that. So thank you, Skillshare, for today's video. Okay, so in terms of whips, I'm like looking because my whips are right here. I have 5 whips that I am working on currently. This first one is it's in its infancy stage, but this is going to be a balaclava. Again, when it comes to some of these whips, some of them were just cast-ons that this one I thought I was going to bring to a knit night, but then I wound up wanting to finish the scarf instead. But this was cast on and is going to get worked on for the functionality of having a balaclava for when I bike to and from work. I really want something, I find my ears get cold and my neck gets cold through the holes in my helmet. And I want something that's practical and functional. And so I'm using this pattern, which is free. I believe it is the Easy Hood. And if I messed up the name, I will make sure it's down here. Yeah, I'm realizing for some of these projects, I don't know the designer, which is not great, but that's a little reminder for future me to write better notes. But I wanted to sit down and record this, and like I said, perfection is the enemy of great. And so sorry that this video is not perfect and I forget the project name and the designer of this, but I will make sure to include it down below. But it is a free pattern. I'm knitting it on 5.5mm needles. I am using this random yarn from my stash that I got from Olives and Bananas, which was a shop that closed in Thunder Bay and has reopened in BC. But this is Tweed Deluxe by SMC Select. It is a chunky weight yarn. It's kind of has this take on it. It's like a blown yarn almost, with like a chainette yarn with like this like brown core throughout it, but then has this gray, light gray, white fiber around it. Anyways, I'll probably knit a matching pair of mittens because I am, again, all about functionality, and I am a outside exerciser for the most part. In the winter, I run in all sorts of weathers. I'm also hoping to bike to and from work throughout majority of weather. Probably big snowstorm days, I will not bike to and from work. But if it's rainy, if it's cold, I will be hopping on my bike and biking because it is the most efficient way for me to get to work. But this is a balaclava. It's, as you can see, very early on in its stage, but it shouldn't take too long. It's just gonna kind of be a fast knit that I can work on here and there. And I've wanted a balaclava for years, and so it was just like cast it on, do your thing, and have this little functional piece. The other functional piece that is a new cast on is I want to do a pair of Thrum Mittens. I have Raynaud's where I get really cold hands and feet, my extremities get really cold. And so talking to friends, like when I was at this knit club, they were like, oh my gosh, like Thrum Mittens, Thrum slippers, they're so cozy, so comfy. And so I cast on the Easy Thrum Mittens, and I have some roving that came from a roving and drop spindle. I've never spinned before, but I would really, really love to learn to spin. So maybe I can use Skillshare for that. But I'm using some of this roving so that I can make my Easy Thrum Mittens. Again, I haven't really worked on them. I have the cuff done, but I need to make more of the thrums. But I really I've heard that they're super warm and super cozy. And whether it's for running in the winter, cycling in the fall or winter, having another pair of warm mittens is something that has a lot of utility in my life, and it uses up this random worsted weight yarn that's 100% wool, as well as using some of this roving, and then I can use whatever's left to learn how to use this drop spindle that I received for Christmas last year from my parents. Both this spindle was made in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and the wool also comes from Borderland Farms, which is a little farm in Thunder Bay. And so depending on when I get to this, I might ask my parents to bring some for me when they come to visit me in January. But another little easy project that I'm hoping to cast on, and just having a little kind of work portable project that I can put in my bag. So when I go to a cafe and knit, when I go to a friend's house and knit, I don't necessarily have to bring my huge project bag, but sometimes I do. I'm realizing I forgot one of my whips over there, which I'll grab at the end. The next project I have worked on intermittently is my Nata dress. And so it is definitely at a dress length now. I haven't tried it on recently, but this is a project that I am hoping I can finish before the end of the year. The next, I guess, all the projects I've shown you today, I'm hoping I can finish up by the end of 2024 and just have a bit more of a clean slate with knitting. I'm trying not to cast on any more garments until I finish some of the ones that I have on my needles. and I have a decent number on the go that I would like to clear out my needles with before I pick up or start some new projects. But you should stay tuned for my winter plans video because I would like to knit a few more classics and statement pieces this upcoming winter. But the Nata dress is a pattern by Ullen Knitwear. It's a fairly straightforward pattern. It has, as you can, well, it's a stockinette dress, so it has a lot of mindless knitting in it, which has been great for socializing, for such as knitting on while I'm watching Skillshare and trying to extend my knowledge while also kind of doing a two birds in one stone sort of situation, which is something that I have really been prioritizing while trying to do a lot of things. So I have to take Luna out every morning, and so I also need to run or want to run every day, and so I usually run Luna before work so that both her and I can get our exercise in. But this yarn I am using Isager Maryland and Isager Trio 1. I'm holding the Trio 1 single. In the pattern it suggests to hold Trio 1 double, but from a cost perspective I didn't really want to hold it double, and so I just bought enough to hold it single, and the fabric that it is working up is thick enough that I feel comfortable wearing it. I really want to start doing the double knit edging soon because I don't love double knitting. I don't love the finishing touches of projects, which is why one of them isn't done yet. And that project that isn't done has my 3mm needles, which is what I need to finish my double knitting. So there's a few little logistical issues, or logistical, not issues, but scenarios as to why this hasn't been done. But it's a dress that I think will be really, really lovely to wear and to have for a multitude of seasons. I think it will be great in summer. I think it will be great in the winter, in the fall, wearing like a long sleeve shirt under it or wearing a cardigan on top. And I think the satisfaction of having that dress off my needles will feel really great. The next project that I'll talk about is the one that is housing my 3mm needles. And this is the Maggie cardigan. I literally just need to do the, I think I've already done the double knitting for the Italian cast off, but I need to do a tubular Italian bind off here. And this is where my 3mm needles are. I have one armband done. I need to do the other armband, and I need to do the button band. And so this is really only like a weekend's worth of knitting. So this upcoming weekend, maybe I will get to that. But this is the Magie cardigan. It is by Petite Knit. It's in this like beautiful burgundy color, which I'm really loving. And I do kind of wish I incorporated this color into my crazy scarf, but maybe that just means I have to knit another crazy scarf. It's funny, my favorite section of this scarf is this section with like the blues and the orange, but it's the middle of the scarf, and so it's not really a statement piece within the scarf while I'm wearing it. And so maybe doing another one, or like a scrappy sweater is kind of on my mind right now, incorporating some of that color blocking of the colors that I really like. But this is knit at a sport weight gauge. The yarn that I'm using, I think one of my viewers commented that like this yarn is probably as old as me in terms of when this yarn came out, but it is Gems by Luette. It's an 100% merino, I believe it says 100% merino wool, but it doesn't say superwash, but it does say machine washable and dryable. So I do believe that it's superwash because of those characteristics of it. It's in the colorway burgundy. I will probably have this full skein extra, which could be fun for a scrappy project such as a sweater or a cardigan or another scarf. I have been really into vests, and I am excited to have this off my needles, but apparently I'm not excited enough to actually cast it off and do the last kind of finishing touches that it needs to be done. I knit this in a size small. I think with blocking it'll grow a bit just because it is superwash. But I think, again, Wednesdays I wear pink. I think this can count enough as pink, especially if I were to wear like my pink pants with it. And it's a project that will hopefully be off my needles for the next podcast. Okay, the other project that I'll talk about before I'll show you my new garment cast on, which is a test knit, is my Eva Cardigan. And so this is a pattern that I cast on last fall. It sat on my needles because I sat on my needles It's a lot of sats. But this is knit in Creo Wool Deluxe 2. It is knit in this beautiful blue-gray color. I have the body done, one sleeve done. I need to do the other sleeve and the button band. The sleeve honestly didn't take long. It's just been a matter of I knit that scarf in the time that I thought I would have finished the second sleeve. Really, this yarn is so soft and dreamy, but it is going to pill like crazy. It's already kind of begun to pill and I've never even worn it. And so this is one that I'm hoping to have off my needles as well. I feel like I say that every time, and it's just a matter of sometimes life gets in the way, or priorities change, or I just kind of lean into what feels right for knitting, because at the end of the day, this is a craft that I do because it brings me joy. And if this takes a little while to get off my needles, so be it. But I do think having this cardigan is just going to be a nice addition to my wardrobe. I have really been enjoying wearing cardigans open. I've worn some of them as a top, like without a layer on underneath. I've worn them over top of layers, and I just think that they're so versatile. And this pattern, once I kind of committed to finishing it, it really does knit off the needles quick. It's knit at 4mm needles. I did size down to a 3.5 or 3.25 millimeter needle for the cuff. I just find my ribbing tends to look better if I size down a needle size. And I did that for, no, I didn't. I kept 3.5 for the hem of the body. Part of it was also that my 3.5 needles were preoccupied in a different project. But yeah, good old classic Petite knit. You can't really go wrong with a Petite knit pattern. She makes timeless staples. She's so popular for a reason. And just give me one more second as I show you the last project that I need to finish that I have started and have as a work in progress. Alrighty, so the last project that I have is the West Sand sweater. And this is a top-down raglan by Journey Through Yarn. And I'm knitting it in Peer Gynt. It has little contrast colors at Luna, stop. It has little contrast colors at the hem and at the sleeve cuffs and the body cuff, or body hem, I suppose. It is knit on 4mm needles, and after you split for the yoke, it has some lovely color work sections. I can include a photo here. I've really been enjoying the top-down raglan construction. This is like, I honestly haven't knit a lot of like actual sweaters. I think I've only knit 2 proper sweaters that aren't like a summer weight yarn. And so it's been, no, 3, but 2 of them have been bottom up construction. One of them was a drop shoulder. And this is my first raglan cardigan that I've made since starting the Knitting Page YouTube channel, or cardigan. This is the first top down raglan sweater that I've made since starting the Knitting Page channel. I don't really know how, I haven't like counted to see how far I am along in the yoke construction, but I'm definitely getting close-ish to splitting for sleeves. And then I think the color work section will be really fun to knit a few rows of color work and then have a break of just knitting plain stockinette in the round, a few rows of color work, have a break, and then repeat that process for the sleeves. I think this yellow will be kind of like a fun neutral that I can play with for the fall and the spring. I know this butter yellow color was super popular this past spring, and yellow is my favorite color, and so I'm really excited to have a yellow garment to wear, because so far the only yellow thing I have knitted is a yellow pillow cover. Whew, alrighty, that is all for today. I wanted to go into plans. Acquisitions, I've bought some yarn since, but I don't really know what I have bought since recording my last video. So I'm just going to keep it at that for today. Thank you so much for watching, for supporting this channel. And I feel like I say this a lot, but there's just been so much going on in life, but I really do hope to be posting on a more regular basis. And until next time, I hope you have a great time knitting. I hope you're enjoying this transition into like a cozy period if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, and in a place that experiences all 4 seasons, and just kind of enjoying the fall to winter transition. I've been enjoying my soups, my teas, my coffees, lighting candles, and just really leaning into that cozy vibe, which includes a lot of knitting time. So that is all that I have for today. See ya!